Third is Suarez. Goodell comes running in. He's under it, makes the catch. Here's the throw to the plate. It's in the air. He is out! Cameron Rick hangs on! Oh, man, what a play! Deep to right field. Way and second
Yo, welcome back. Look who's here. Sean's here. It's the Stupid
am.
Money Podcast. Sean is back for this episode because he needs to rage about the trade deadline. So that's where we're going to start today. We are starting with the trade deadline. Phillies made 4 moves. In case you missed it, I doubt you did. Started on Saturday when they traded Jojo Romero for Imundo Sosa, kind of like an infield glove, utility guy. Not hitting too well this year. Hit 271 last year, though. So maybe, I don't know. He has a lot of control. I think he has maybe 3-4 years of control after this. So kind of, I guess, an upgrade over Camargo. Camargo's been pretty rough since he came back from his injuries. And then the big 3 on trade deadline day. Say that a lot of times fast. That won't work. We got David Robertson back with the Phils for Ben Brown. Might miss him eventually. We'll see. Then they make 2 separate trades with that terrible franchise that is called the Angels. The first one being center fielder Brandon Marsh for Logan O'Hoppe, our guy, the catching prospect gone. Oof. And then the second one was Mickey Moniak, some guy I never heard of, for Noah Syndergaard. So the Phillies get a infield glove, an outfield glove, another weapon for that bullpen, and a replacement for Eflin because neither of these guys stay healthy or go deep in games. So it's like, it's a Spider-Man meme. So Sean, tell me which trade you like the most, your grades. What do you got?
Oh, man. Trade I like the most, it has to be Syndergaard, I guess, by default. I wouldn't say by default. I like all the moves that you just mentioned. Like I also consider the moves being DFAing the 2 guys who beat up their girlfriends / wives and whatnot on the same day is also a huge victory and was probably like my favorite moment of yesterday, to be honest. And I think like a lot of Phillies can attest to that as well. Yeah, I mean, Syndergaard, he's obviously not the guy that, he once was when the Mets were in the World Series and, he was throwing at Chase Utley and getting thrown out of the first inning and stuff like that. But, I mean, they traded, like, nothing for him. Like, Mickey Moniak, he was probably going to get DFA'd at some point, either this year or next year. And like you said, another guy, never heard of. We'll never hear of him because he's on the Angels and he's going to do literally nothing in that development. So, I mean, Syndergaard's probably going to come out of the bullpen, if/when the Phillies are in the wild card series, 3-game series. I think Ranger or Gibson is probably going to start game 3. And Syndergaard's probably going to come out of the pen, hopefully, that he can, maybe get the miles per hour up to like 95 where it used to be, and all will be good.
Right,
what are your thoughts? Actually, we didn't really talk about it.
So to me, I was like, Syndergaard was like option like 5 or 6, and then I realized the Giants think they can get like a Luis Castillo type haul for half a year of Rondon, and I'm like, all right, that's not going to happen. Like it sounds like from Dave Dombrowski's presser that the Giants were like hell-bent on at least one of Abel, Painter, and McGarry, and that's just not going to happen. So this when I kind of heard that, I was like, okay, see ya. Probably same with Pablo Lopez. I doubt he was getting traded here anyway. Okay, see ya. Not going to happen. Never really thought they were connected to Frankie Montas at all. I don't think so. I think that was not. He didn't cost that much, in my opinion, though. Like I feel like the Yankees got off a little easy there. So maybe that one would have worked. I don't know. The thing is, with Frankie Montas, they probably have zero interest in Logan O'Hoppe, considering they have Murphy on the roster, and then they have those 2 talented prospects, Shea Langoliers, and the other guy's name is slipping my mind, but he's also in the top 100 prospect list. So that probably wasn't going to work. I'm a little surprised Martin Perez didn't go from the Rangers. I think he was a guy that like we used to talk about all the time, like, oh, he's a lock come to the Phillies. The one thing I do like about that they kind of stay away from him is like that guy's career ERA is like 4.5. Like every year he's had an ERA in the fours. Like eventually I feel like he was just going to implode and the ERA was going to end up back in the fours at the end of this year. So I'm glad to stay away from him. So I guess really that Syndergaard by default became the number one target in a way. I mean, he has playoff experience. He's been a good pitcher in the past. I just worry about a couple things. Like he was in a 6-man rotation. That's not going to happen here. He doesn't pitch that deep into games. Now they solidified the bullpen, so you know what I mean. Maybe not. He doesn't have to go as deep into games. Just please no more bullpen games because that game the other day was just terrible. I know there's concerns about his, base stealers have field day off of him. Well, JT Realmuto's behind the plate, so I think that neutralizes some of that. So at the end of the day, I'm okay with this move. They didn't give up a lot. I think it's kind of low risk, high reward. I'm okay with it, I think.
The only thing I don't like about the Syndergaard move is, they made that trade, with the Angels hours before. They could have easily included him in that deal. Like they just include whatever to trade for both Marsh and Syndergaard, but they passed. And like you can say like, oh, maybe the Angels were asking for too much. I feel like it's more like the Phillies wanted something else better. And they were like, all right, well, we need something. So like they're like, we'll just take him. Like, which it isn't terrible. It's not a terrible, like logical, type of thing. Like you can't be trading, McGarry, Painter, honestly, even O'Hoppe, and Abel for a rental. And they didn't, and I'm happy they didn't. But like, man, it is weird that like they made two trades with the same team on the same day. It's pretty weird. And like it just seems like, kind of like a panic move on both sides. Like obviously the Angels, they pretty much had to trade Syndergaard. Like they couldn't offer him the qualifying offer this offseason. They weren't going to get anything for him, and he's owed $7 million more, for the rest of the year. And the Angels stink. So like they had no choice. So it was a panic move on both sides. And I mean, I'm not going to complain because obviously he's better than Bailey Falter, and he's, like I said, he's probably going to come out of the bullpen anyway in the playoffs, and he's probably going to be electric, honestly, with that hair and everything. Like, it's going to be great. But like, kind of weird that they didn't trade for him originally. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they wanted to. I think they wanted Rondon from the Giants.
Yeah,
his name was linked to them all day. And then, Heyman says asking price probably still too high, which means I think they probably wanted at least McGarry, and they're going to say no to that. I mean, there's people talking about that they think McGarry could come out of the bullpen in September and stuff like that. He's untouchable with those. The fact they hung on to those three, and I still think they got a lot better, including the fact that they got the DFA Familia Herrera, I think says a lot. Like, I think it was a pretty good deadline when you look at it that way.
Oh, definitely. I mean, they shored up the three things that honestly, the four things that they needed the most. They needed, depth in the middle infield. They needed more of that. Like, I like Nick Maton. Don't trust him in the playoffs like Sosa. He could probably be a defensive replacement in the playoffs and be, positive.
Mm-hmm.
They replaced, defensive center field. That's what they needed. And controllable center field, who's going to be here, for the next at least 4 years, I think Marsh has, maybe 5. I'm not positive there. And then they shored up the bullpen, and then obviously, Syndergaard is going to be their 4/5 for the rest of the year. It's exactly what they needed. It's perfect. Like, and they really only traded O'Hoppe and whatever you want to say Ben Brown is. I feel like it sucks seeing Ben Brown go because he's having a great year, but like he was a
33rd round pick.
33rd round pick. I mean, people are going to say, like the common Philadelphia fans are going to say like the farm system sucks. Like, can't believe they traded him. Like whatever. Yeah. And in my opinion, I think like the last 3 years we've seen a lot of development out of this Phillies farm system. Everybody's still in like the low A's to like high A's. But I think like eventually people are going to start to see that like the farm system is starting to grow. And like they got 4 top 100 prospects this year. Now they only have 3 because they traded O'Hoppe. But like we're starting to see, some type of development. I feel like every single year we're going to be trading like, like that Ben Brown type of like guy that they just, get a lot out of in like single A, and they trade him for a guy who's going to help them out, like Dave Robertson, will, because that makes Sir Anthony, like the 8th inning guy or like the matchup guy, like we saw today, to get out Acuna, and then they bring in Alvarado to get out a lefty, and then bang, Dave Robertson, a guy who's been there, 100 times getting the saves, gets his first save as a Phil, as you said before the show. I can't.
Oh man,
that's hilarious. But
it's so funny. 4 years later.
Yeah. So like they showed up everything they had to do, and it may not be like the guys that we exactly wanted.
Right.
I don't think it's any of the guys like we're in my dream, deadline type of like, scenario.
Right.
But like they got the job done.
Yeah, I think, at first I think both of us hated the O'Hoppe trade.
Yeah.
And then I start to, hear more about it. Okay, Marsh is really good glove. They still think he has a chance to hit. And that's the thing. Like, the Angels are a terrible organization. He could have a ton of potential, and they're just a bunch of idiots over there and don't know what to do with it. Like, we trust Kevin Long. Maybe this year Marsh is just that nine-hole hitter, but plays extraordinary defense. You don't worry about it. And then you go into the offseason, you're like, okay, let's fix the bat. I think that's the way to go about it. We talked about this before the show. Mac Gelb said some things that they try to trade O'Hoppe for, a top 100 prospect that played a different position. They tried to trade O'Hoppe for a controllable center fielder from the NL West. I would assume that's someone on the Diamondbacks. They have a bunch of guys. So, I mean, they tried different things. O'Hoppe was never going to play here. Let's be honest.
No.
Real Muto, three years left, I think, after this, maybe 2 after this. But he was never going to play here. I think they sold him as high as they could, that it was just straight up that they got a center fielder that is signed through 2027. At first I hated it because I was like, wow, we could have used him to get a Rondon or, an Ian Happ or something. But then, you look at it, I'm like, okay, this kind of makes a little more sense. So I don't hate that deal at all now. I kind of like it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Ian Happ was. It sounds like the Cubs were asking for everything for Contreras and Ian Happ. Like,
yeah, the fact those guys are still. There's a lot of guys I'm surprised that are still where they are.
Yeah, I don't know. Like these teams, like I get it. You want to like hold the leverage, and maybe you want to like not just make all these panic moves that make you look bad, like the next trade deadline or whatever. But like, man, you got it. How do you not trade Wilson Contreras? Like, the guy has done so much for, your city, your organization. He's been there forever. He hasn't complained about anything. And, like, he's hugging Ian Happ, like, the last week in the dugout because they think that, like, that's their last game in Wrigley. And, like, you don't trade them. And they're, like, 20 games below 500. Yes, they just swept the Phillies. But, like, man, just let them go win. And, like, maybe you sign them back in the offseason. Yeah. Like, just let them go. Get something for them. Do him a favor. And then try to sign him back if he really likes it there. It's not that hard.
Yeah, the Cubs were confusing. The Diamondbacks were a little confusing. They didn't really move anybody. I would have loved Mantiply. The Rockies, instead of trading Bard, their closer, who's done well, they extended him. I don't know what goes on in Colorado, and they're like a 4th place team for eternity. It feels like. I don't know how the Rangers don't trade Martin Perez. The Giants holding on to Jock and Rondon. There were a lot of the Pirates not trading Bednar when his value is probably at the highest it ever will be. That there's a lot of things that to me were confusing, like the Orioles trading Mancini and then the Red Sox buying and selling at the same time. There were a lot of teams that just to me this trade deadline made 0 sense.
Yeah, do you have one, like I saw one of the national writers, he interviewed, a buyer a buyer's GM and a seller's GM, and both pretty much said like the opposite. Like one of them said it was a buyer's market, one of them said it was a seller's market. Like, I don't know what's going on here. Like they added another wild card team. Like it should be a buyer's market, and like I don't know what happened. Like yesterday was crazy though. Like Juan Soto, we just saw pretty much I feel like he's better than Trout. I feel like we just saw the best player since Barry Bonds just get traded, and insanity that he got dealt with Josh Bell.
Yeah, and then they got Brandon Drury right after that.
Yeah.
That Padres lineup, and it happened. Did you see what happened tonight?
Yeah.
Bell and Soto walked, and then Drury hit a grand slam.
I've seen the notifications come through. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't even have Tatis yet either. I mean, that lineup is insane. I think Josh Bell too is a very underrated piece in that deal. I know he's a rental, but like he killed the Phillies this year. I'm so glad to see him go before this 4-game series this weekend. More so than Soto, honestly. Like he's killed the Phillies more than Soto has this year.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I didn't even think about that. Like the fact that we don't have to play Josh Bell the rest of the year and Juan Soto. Like Josh Bell, man. Oh my God. What his OPS has to be like 1,100 this year against the Phillies. Maybe
he hit like a home run in that every game in that series in Washington, right? It was like a 5-game series. He had like 6 home runs, it felt like. Yeah.
Literally just walk. Was that the Girardi series? Was that like one of his last series?
No, Girardi would have been gone because they won. Yeah.
All right. I couldn't blame that on Girardi.
No, they won 5 out of 4 over that weekend. Or 4 out of 5. Right. Oh my God, yes. Jeez, I'm getting tired. 4 out of 5. Yeah, so they have 11 games against the Nationals left, who will not have those 2 guys. And they have 7 games against the Reds, who will not have Maile, Castillo, Pham, or Drury. Pham and Drury combined for, I think, 33% of the Reds' home run production this year. I think it was like 30 out of 90 or something they accounted for. And then obviously Maile and Castillo are the 1-2 of the Reds, so they're gone. So, those games look a little easier too, I'd say.
Yeah. I guess if we're also going to say that, like, the Cardinals also play the Nationals, I'm going to assume, and they play the Reds because they're in the same division. So, like, it kind of evens out there. But I did see the Phillies, they have 20 games remaining in this month against the Nationals, Marlins, Diamondbacks, and Reds, which, 20 games, they should win 15 of those.
Yeah, I think
I know we're doing this, like, written on paper, wins, but, like, gotta be.
It's gotta be. Like, it has to be. I mean, I know the Nationals somehow beat DeGrom the other night, but that lineup, when I saw that, I was laughing. I felt so bad for Nelson Cruz too. They lied to him because you remember when he signed, he was like, "They told me they're not done yet" or something. And it's like, not done trading Juan Soto. Like he got lied to, and then he had too much money to be traded. So, he's gonna get intentionally walked probably like 300 times to end the season, but that lineup is hysterically bad. Like,
who would be a great addition? Who'd be a great addition to that lineup?
Herrera. Yeah. He probably does end up there. I'm not even kidding.
Just get the boys back together. Just get the Franco, Cesar Hernandez, and Adubo
Herrera. The 2016 Phillies back together.
Yeah. And they also have Victor Arano in the pen. Just
forgot about him.
Get Jared Eichhoff. Come on, Jeremy Hellickson, maybe.
Get the yeah. Couldn't happen to a worse franchise.
No.
Screw them,
dude. I know they won a World Series, and like we have no room to talk about franchises and everything, but man, they lost Bryce, Trey Turner, Juan Soto, Josh Bell, Kyle Schwarber. They paid Patrick Corbin and Steven Strasburg all this money, and they lost Max Scherzer,
Rendon.
Oh well, Rendon stinks, but like he was like insane. Who else did they lose?
I mean, I don't think like Zimmerman retired.
Zimmerman, yeah.
Did Eden retire? I don't know what happened to him. just they lost some guys, but I mean, I don't know. I don't care. Kurt Suzuki is gone.
They're so
Yeah.
lucky they won the World Series because I know they're getting new ownership anyway, so it pretty much
Yeah.
doesn't matter. But like, man. Also,
Yeah.
like, how does that work when you're like buying a team? Like, you just traded probably the best player of our. I mean, I still think he's better than Trout. Like, because Trout just like he's dealing with so many injuries, so like he's not even gonna probably get to like 2,500 hits at this point. But anyway, like, how does that work? Like, you trade Juan Soto, does the franchise's value go down? Does it go up because you don't have to pay him?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel that
Does it not matter?
the new owner might have had a say in that.
But they don't know who the new owner is.
Oh, I thought they did. Okay, because because on the MLB Network, they were talking about like, oh, well, maybe the new owner wants Soto or something. Like, so I thought they knew who it was. Maybe not.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah, I don't.
It's kind of like the same like with the Denver Broncos. I hate to like cross like sports and whatnot, but like they traded for Russell Wilson this offseason and then they got a new owner. Does that like help the value of? I have no idea how that works.
I would think so, but I don't know because then you do have to pay him. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I really don't care. The Nationals are gonna be horrible for like years.
Yeah, and I hate to break this to like everybody, but I don't think CJ Abrams is good.
Okay.
Mackenzie Gore is a stud.
Yeah, he's gonna get problems.
I had CJ Abrams in our dynasty league with Alec, and I traded him for Freddie Freeman, and I could not be happier. About it.
There you go.
I do not think he's good. He's fast, and he plays a lot of positions, and he's cool. He's really athletic, but like, don't think he can hit well at all. So
yeah, we'll find out this weekend, I guess. Yeah. But...
yeah.
Or is he hurt?
Like D. Gordon.
Good. D. Gordon. I wonder what he's up to these days. I haven't seen him in a while. Can't say I care.
No.
All right, so back to the Phillies. What do you think about the bullpen now? I love it. I think this is like the best bullpen we've seen since like maybe 08. Like
so you got Sir Anthony, you got Robertson, Brogdon, Alvarado, Bellotti, Hand, Knable, Nelson, and then you're probably getting back Coonrod.
He's getting destroyed in AAA.
Is he?
Yeah, it's not been good.
Well, maybe he has like a Brogdon resurgence that he just comes up here and finds something.
Yeah, I think maybe it comes up when the roster expands in September, but
he would probably take, I guess, Nelson's spot, or if anybody gets hurt.
Yeah,
I don't really see a spot for him.
Yeah, I don't either because I think you need Nelson as a long man because Bellotti, as we thought, was a long man, but he's kind of become a one-inning guy now. He's close to game or two, like. So I think Nelson, it really is your like multiple inning guy. I don't think you could take him out.
Yeah, I agree with that. So like, whatever Coonrod gives you, I guess, is a positive this year. You don't see him, whatever. We'll see you in spring training.
Yeah.
And then like I think I mentioned it a little bit with Syndergaard, but like the playoff for like bullpen for at least the wild card series. If you have Ranger coming out of the pen, insane. If you have Syndergaard coming out of the pen, I think that's insane. If you have Gibson coming out of the pen, I feel like that's like the Astros version of Charlie Morton, where he's just going to be a freaking stud, and then he's going to get like massive bank, by like the Braves this offseason.
Okay. No.
I could see Kyle Gibson being like the next Charlie Morton of like the next 5 years, where he's just like all of a sudden just breaks out and he's a stud. I could see it. Like he's only 35. Charlie Morton's like 38 right now.
Yeah.
I can see Gibby, figuring out something.
Maybe.
The Phillies just figure out these guys.
Right.
But yeah, I love the bullpen. The bullpen's now that Familia's gone.
Oh yeah.
Like, and you got Robertson, who's been here. He wants to be here. It sounds like he
looks pretty good today when he struck out Austin Riley. That was good.
He definitely wants to prove people wrong that, we signed him to a 2-year, $27 million contract, and he pitched 6 innings and it was terrible.
Yeah.
Prove people wrong, and hey, I'm here for it.
Yeah, go for it. Where was he last year? Did he play last year?
He was on Team USA.
Yeah.
I remember that with Todd Frazier. And then he signed like the Cardinals, maybe, like something like that.
I'm honestly not sure, but well.
Yeah. Could have signed in the offseason for half of what Familia got.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, but that's him. I don't know that he's gone now, but that was just the worst signing ever. It's like so stupid. It made 0 sense, but
for so many reasons.
Yeah, so many reasons on and off the field. But in other good news, Bryce Harper got the pins removed out of his thumb. Blake Snell coming for you, bro. It sounds like 3 weeks, maybe. It's also apparently he's throwing.
Yes, I think that's the biggest part of this all.
Yeah, because get Castellanos out of right field. I know he made a decent catch today, but bro cannot throw. Like it is terrible. Like he looks like he's like throwing like a golf wedge. Like the ball is like going like this. Like I don't know what he's doing, but yeah, if Bryce is back in right, that's massive.
It's massive for so many reasons. Like you said, with the defense and Castellanos probably going back to DH or Schwarber going to DH or whatever you want to do in left field. But it also is massive because if he doesn't have to get Tommy John, that means he's going to be in the field next year. That means you have so much flexibility to figure out what the hell you want to do this offseason with signing guys. Do you want to trade for Devers, and do you want to sign Bogarts? Do you want to sign Trey Turner? It does so much because you don't have the DH already filled out. You have so much flexibility now. You can put Schwarber at first next year. You can trade Hoskins. You could DH Castellanos next year. You could there's so much flexibility now. It's great.
Yeah,
so
there is.
I hope that it wasn't just him just lobbing the ball or whatever.
Yeah, I need to know what the definition of throwing is, but yeah. And then Gene's supposed to come back. I guess by the time this comes out, Gene will be back today, Thursday. Very excited to have him back. Miss him. I will not miss Didi Gregorius. Look, dude, the defense has been good. I'll give you that. Dude cannot hit the ball. There's no power in that bat. Some of these swings, I'm like, wow, that ball's crushed, and it's in the middle of center field. He has 0 power. His at-bats are terrible. I can't tell you less than he walked. I'm not. If he wants to come in late in the game for Stott and play some defense, fine. But I cannot see this guy have 4 at-bats every day. It just needs to stop.
It's brutal. He tries to lift all these balls. He has no power.
Yeah.
He's got. I mean, I give him credit. He's got a lot of hits with runners in scoring position. He's batting 280 with runners in scoring position, which is fine. He's going to be a bench bat most likely when Gene comes back, which is fine. He can pinch hit for whoever. I get it would probably be Stott, but Stott, Didi and Stott are both lefties.
Yeah, that makes it complicated. Yeah,
I would probably rather see Didi up. Maybe not. Bryson's had a lot of clutch hits lately, so I don't know. Didi is a clutch batter in his life. That's why Yankees fans just love him.
Yeah,
but not the worst bench bat. Whatever. Can't wait for Gene. I mean, just need him back. I don't know what you do with the lineup. I don't know if you bat him second and you drop Reese back to 4. I don't know.
I don't know if I said this to you or I said it to Alex when he filled in. I kind of like Gene 4 just because of
you said it to me.
Yeah, the amount of contact he makes. I feel like that was kind of the problem. JT was grounded into the double plays. Castellanos was striking out with guys on. It's just I want the guy that always seems to find the hole in the defense, poking it the other way, slapping it through the hole. The days of the cleanup hitter hitting 45 home runs for the most part in baseball are done. Aaron Judge bats second for the Yankees. You know what I mean? The idea that the cleanup hitter has to be Ryan Howard anymore is just way gone. I really would not mind putting him there. Maybe I don't know when Bryce comes back, maybe not, but for right now, I'm kind of a fan maybe of him batting fourth. We'll see what the lineup is on Thursday, but
Yeah. All the points that you just made about Gene, just being a guy who can find the holes and hit it in the gap. That was pretty much why I liked the Cassiano signing so much and why I liked him batting fourth, and it kind of backfired. But hey, he hit a home run today. Hey.
yeah, he did finally.
People on the streets are saying that the month of August is Nick Cassiano's month. Hey, I'm here for it.
I mean, the amount of famous people that died until he finally ran into one, like, oh my god. Like people were waiting. Like I know people that were like, people would send me, like they were like hammering bets on him to homer every time someone famous died, and it's just not working out. Like I don't think it's real anymore.
I mean,
it's not real anymore.
Look, you brought it up. Vince Scully passed away.
Yeah.
Last night, and I'm not going to name names, but someone in my group chat from my high school buddies, they said, of course, Nick Cassiano hit a home run after Vince Scully passed away.
And yeah, I had a lot of people say that too. Apparently, some guy put $1,000 on Castellanos to homer today.
That guy probably also has put like $1,000 on Castellanos to hit a home run like the last 40 games that he hasn't hit one. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah, sure, probably got it. Maybe got the money back, but yeah. The Castellanos meme, in my opinion, is dead because there was enough opportunities that didn't happen. So just because he went for like 1 for 40, we're not going to count it, I feel like.
All right, fair.
I think the meme's dead. That's what I was getting at. I think it's dead. But the thing about Gene, I was going to say, he actually was showing some power before he got hurt. He had like 6 home runs in May, which for him is like a lot. Like,
yeah.
So, there's still some power there too if you bat him cleanup, I feel like.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So, before we get to your segment, really quick, so they own a playoff spot right now, because the Cardinals got rained out, so they have they own the tiebreak over them anyway, but they do own a half-game lead over the Cardinals. Here's the thing though, I think the Cardinals make the playoffs. I don't think the Brewers did. They added 0 bats at the deadline. I don't know how that offense scores runs because when you look at it, it's like a joke. I think, and they traded Josh Hader. I think the Brewers are going to be the team that misses the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, how long is Peralta out? Do you know by chance?
I don't.
It's going to come down to that. I want to say, like, I have no idea. I don't really pay attention to the Brewers, IL situation.
Yeah.
But man, like you said, like Nick, I mean, Willie Adames and Andrew McCutcheon are like the only decent batters in that lineup, and it's nothing else. It's Lorenzo Cain is even there anymore.
No, he's DFA'd. He's not there.
All right.
They have Rowdy Tellez hits a lot of home runs.
Okay.
He does, and Renfroe hits home runs. But like,
I forgot they got Renfroe. Yeah. Renfroe is like a guy that he's like Schwarber kind of. Like, he's not going to hit for average at all, but like if he's in the playoffs, he's just going to hit like 3 home runs in a series and he's just going to win like 2 games for you. He's just weird like that. But yeah, I don't know what the hell the Brewers are doing. Did you see what Devin Williams said, when he was asked about the Josh Hader trade? I
didn't know.
He like ripped the front office. He was like, I really don't know what we're trying to do out here. Like, we're trying to win. Like,
yeah, and then they DFA'd. They already DFA'd one of the guys they got back from.
Jesus Christ.
That Lamette guy, they DFA'd him. So why'd you even want him? What was the point of that?
I'll pick him up. He used to be a top prospect. Why not?
He's a starting pitcher. So I mean, if you were putting AAA, add some depth, why not? But
yeah. I mean,
sure.
I'll take him.
Yeah, that team's confusing to me. I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs. Their goal is to win every game 1-0, pretty much. I just don't think that's sustainable. So.
They're such a weird team because like they kind of spend money, they kind of don't, but like they got so many like Rays traits.
Yeah, they're kind of Raysy. Yeah,
they find value in players that like the Phillies like with DFA, like the Angels with DFA, like even the Dodgers like with DFA. They just find value in this type of players. It's fun and whatnot, but like it's kind of like what's killing baseball, and that's why I hate analytics. But hey,
Right.
it's also like kind of like the reason why like the Phillies have been bad because we make no fringe moves other than this year.
All right.
You got any final thoughts?
They better take 3 out of 4 this weekend from the Nationals. I'll start there. And I'm really hoping Cassiano starts to come around, because if he starts going gap to gap, doubles, hits the ball over the wall, and then Gene's back, and then eventually Bryce is back with the way Bohm is hitting, which is good to see, and Schwarber adding in the home run every once in a while, they're going to be hard to stop. So, if he just please get going, please, like, really need it.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets going, month of August for Castellanos, then Bryce comes back. I need it so bad. I just need rally towels. Need it so bad. I think my final thought is, just looking at the deadline and whatnot, I feel like they're going to be huge spenders in the offseason because, like you said, they wanted to trade for a controllable pitcher. They didn't get that. And they got Gibson coming off the books. They got Eflin coming off the books. They got Syndergaard coming off the books. They also got, pretty much Gene coming off the books. I don't think he's going to get that option picked up. $17 million option, $1 million buyout. I think they're going to buy him out. They might try to bring him back for cheaper, like what they did with Double, kind of.
Yeah.
If not, like I feel like they're going to sign like a Drury type of player who could play like third or second and just fill that position, and then have Stott play the other one. I feel like Reese is pretty much gone this offseason.
Yeah.
And then like Didi's coming off, yeah. And like half the bullpen as well is coming off.
Yeah, Knable, Hand, Robertson, whatever left of Familia's money, all comes off.
Yeah. Pretty big free agency class. Like obviously there's great Turner rumors are out there. I feel like he pretty much is a Philly if the Phillies want him. The Dodgers seem like they're not going to spend money or whatnot. Like it's kind of weird. Kind of, they didn't do much this offseason. I mean, not this offseason. This trade deadline. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. Rafael Devers. I feel like the Don Bro's boy. I don't know what. And then Xander as well. He has an opt out. I feel like he's probably gonna leave after what they just did. Like they traded Christian Vasquez, the Red Sox, and then Xander's like, I really don't know what we're trying to do out here. If we're trading Vasquez, but we're getting Hosmer, like why would we trade Vasquez?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's weird.
Like that clubhouse, like Vasquez is their heart and soul, and they just traded him. So I don't know. I feel like Xander's a little pissed off there, and he doesn't like where the organization's going, and he's gonna be a free agent. I mean, there's so many free agents. Like Judge is a free agent, DeGrom, Clevenger, Evaldi, Sean Manaea, Carlos Rodon, who's probably going to be a Philly after like all this interest that they have in him.
Yeah.
Talion, Tyler Anderson, Mike Clevenger, Syndergaard, Kiki Hernandez.
Yeah.
They're going to be
guys.
They're going to be big spenders. They're going to. And I'm here for it.
Okay.
All right.
I'll worry about that later. Oh, after.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You know me though. Like
I know. I know you.
I'm always thinking of him.
I know.
All right. So onto a segment that we don't really have any segments on this show. Like,
no.
I guess final thoughts is kind of a segment, kind of whatever. Not really a segment. It's kind of just like how the fuck do we finish this podcast?
Right.
Life advice. Don't know exactly what we're gonna call it, but I've been listening to like the Ryan Russillo podcast and whatnot. And at the end of a single podcast, he answers like a random asked question that just gets sent to him through an email. We're gonna do like send us through like DMs on the Twitter page. You can email us. The email is going to be on the Twitter page bio. Anything you want. Like it can be like a relationship advice. It can be like, college advice, job advice, moving out of the house advice, whatever. It's just going to be, guys who maybe.
Sean, I need advice in like 5 of those things you just named.
So do I. That's why we're going to talk through it. We're going to talk through it. We're going to learn. We're going to develop. We're going to crack some jokes. We're going to bust up some people that we've met in our life. Like, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Hopefully. I love the Ryan Russillo podcast with the life advice. But anyway, so this came from one of my friends. He's in college right now. So it's titled, Happy to be the first one to do this. Love the pod, guys. I think the combo of Alec and you complement each other in a funny way. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad.
I don't know.
He said, anyway, on to the point. I'm a soon-to-be junior at Penn State. And this previous year is my first year living by myself because of COVID.
Okay.
Yeah, that sucks. The whole freshman year just canned because of COVID. It sucks.
Yeah.
I was living with 2 of my high school buddies and some of their lifelong friends. The first few months went great, but we had no conflicts. We were going out with each other to parties, and tailgates, and all that kind of stuff. Then it hit me like a wall, where I kind of just like started to hate all of them. Not like hated them, but like I hated their habits, like not cleaning their dishes, not paying for shit, having weird habits like cooking Indian food at 2 a.m. on a Wednesday, listening to a podcast or music out loud in the living room area where we're trying to study. I don't know. Is this normal? Is this just a part of life? Do I need to find new roommates? Am I stuck with them for another year? I'm already signed on the lease for another year. Thanks, guys. Also, Sean, you're wrong about Syndergaard. He's a beast. All right. The first thing with Syndergaard, like, I didn't want him in the beginning. They traded nothing for him. So, like, it's
right. Yeah. Now it's okay. Yeah. Okay.
All right. I guess, like, to answer the question, that you asked in the first place, you can't find new roommates this year. Like, me personally, I have the leases work at Penn State. You can't really get out of them. You can't find a sublet. You're pretty much stuck with them. So, like, you got to find new roommates, for your senior year. And you like, got to start finding them, like, now. I don't know if you already have, like, a friend group, but, like, you don't want to have that living situation your senior year. You want to have fun your senior year. It's really like your last year of freedom until you want to move out of your parents' house, unless you're moving out of your parents' house right away. Don't really know this kid's situation. What about you, Alec? What do you guys say?
I mean, this, like, I relate to this well, honestly. So my senior year, I pretty much lived alone. My roommate, I had one roommate. He got sick, so he stayed home for the majority of the year. And then my super senior semester, I lived with a kid who I liked. We got along, and then we went out together, but like we weren't in each other's hair. Like we respected each other well. Like, when he cooked, he cleaned up. When I cooked, I cleaned up. When, he went to the bathroom, he cleaned up. And I, blah, blah, blah. Like, it wasn't bad, except he hit my car. But like, that's beside the point. But my junior year, we had a similar problem like this, like with the one roommate, where it was like, maybe we didn't hate his habits. He started to hate ours, and like it led to conflict. Like, we would throw like a beer can in the garbage can, and he would like flip out and be like, "You got to recycle that." And like it came to a head when we had a party, and there's like 30 people there, and the kids are just throwing the cans like in the trash or whatever, and like he starts yelling at them and like puts a box there and be like, "Recycle in here." Of course, me, drinking little, takes the box, opens the back door, and just slings it into the yard. And that's kind of the end of it. And then COVID happened. We never saw the kid again because he got mad at us, or I got mad at him. And then he broke into our house. Long story. The cops were there. But I relate to this well. Like, it happens. Like, you think you know somebody, you think you're okay with it, you think you can manage them, and then it's like after every day, and then you have the stress of school on you. You get the stress of, I don't know, I feel like you're in a relationship or whatever. Like all this stuff weighs on you. Like, watching Penn State football lose weighs on you. Like it just eventually you just snap. And like I kind of had that. But I get it. Like I get it. Like I don't know. This case, like I'd find his underwear on the stove from time to time. Like it's just like, like what the hell? Like I get it. Like there's just things people do, and you're like, well, I don't do that, so it's like weird to you. Like you got to live with people. I feel like they like are like you, and like a couple of my roommates were exactly like me. Like we were all interested in the same thing, so we'd sit there and watch, the games together, and like we'd play online poker together, and then we'd go out to the same party or bar. And the thing is, I feel like you need maybe two years at school until you figure out like who your people are. Like you think you know these people right away that you never lived with before, and then because you hung out with them in a class in high school, like play basketball with them, like, and then you realize, oh well, maybe not. Like I just feel like it does well to figure out what your prototypical person to live with is, and there's no shame in that. It happens, but if it does bother you, then if you can't get out of it this year, like just try to stay maybe in the place as least as possible, study in the library, eat out a little more. I don't know, if you have a girlfriend, go over there a lot. There's just ways to manage it until the end. Don't do what I did, don't make it a scene, but eventually do find your way out.
Yeah. I mean, I can relate to this too. I have a ton of roommate stories from the past. One thing I can recommend, and this isn't going to help this guy out really, but freshman year, I recommend do not room with your high school buddies. I'm telling you, you're going to hate them most of the time. So like, I went to Penn State with Alec. Obviously, we weren't high school buddies at all. We didn't even really know each other. Like,
Yeah,
we knew each other through Twitter. I still can't believe like we're like this close after like just
the funny thing is I could say this probably about like 200 people. Like the guys I do the other podcast with, I know through Twitter. Okay.
Yeah.
Like half of the people who like I have on like that I have streaks with on Snapchat, like I've never met them. Like it's just like on Twitter. Like I don't know. Like it's I meet dudes on Twitter and girls on Tinder. That's kind of my life way. I don't know to tell you, but yeah, go on. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I would not room with your high school buddies, with your lifelong friends. Don't room with them first year. I'm telling you, you're gonna hate them because like you're gonna hate like the way they live, like the way that like they don't pick up their fucking socks, or like how like they stink, or like how like they're blaring their music loud when you're trying to study in your room,
or like what time they shower and stuff, like,
or like when like they're playing video games at 2 a.m. when you have like exam at 3 a.m. or at 5 a.m. or whatever you're trying to get up to study. Like you're gonna hate them. I'm telling you. Like just room of random roommates. And I did it freshman year, and I hated my guy. But like I learned so much from that because like I was never in my room because I did not like my roommate at all. But it was fine because I didn't know him, he didn't know me. I was never going to see him again after freshman year. We both knew that. If you add up our conversations that we had our freshman year, it would probably be like a span of 5 minutes. Okay. I'm not even kidding. Like I was never in the room. Like I was out with friends from my floor, and like that's how I grew up. Like that's just how it was. And then I ended up finding obviously him, but I ended up finding John and Andrew, who ended up being my roommates, and then all went from there. And yeah, yeah, I did not want a room with high school buddies. I went to college with two of my high school buddies. They wanted the room with me freshman year, and I was like, no. And they were both like, why do you hate me? I was like, I just don't want to like end up hating you.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much how it went.
Okay.
And I mean, I'm so close with them. It's fine. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're screwed this year. Like I said, try to find a better situation for your senior year because you're gonna need it because it sucks when you live with people that you don't like. It does.
Yeah, and senior year, you're supposed to have fun and all that. Don't stress about something like that. Like find a situation that's gonna give you the least amount of stress. Like if that means a studio in like a basement, maybe that's not ideal, but if it's the least stressful thing for you, then go for it. I mean, there's especially out there's plenty of housing opportunities that you could have your own room, you could be with only one other person or yourself, and I just don't let it kill your year this year, but definitely don't let it ruin next year.
Yeah. I mean, just I'm sure you have another friend group that you're trying to be with. Just be at their house or apartment pretty much all the time.
Yeah, dude, I didn't just walk around all the time.
Yeah, you were. You would text me just at random times, just like, "Hey, you home?"
Yeah, because I would just walk around. I would just like get bored and be like, I'm gonna go walk around. Like, so
you never slept at my. You never slept over. You never slept on the couch or whatever.
I really appreciate my own bed. And it probably cost me a lot of money in Ubers, but I appreciate my own bed. So
hey, the offer was always there.
I know, but just me, I cannot sleep on a couch, dude. It's just my back. It's so bad.
Yeah. Our couch at school too was the worst. So probably a good choice by you. You probably have some damage to the back right now. Not.
Okay, this is getting long.
Yes.
Yeah,
but
that was good though. It was great to have you back.
Send the life advice questions, please.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate everybody who steps in when Sean's not around. But it's such a relief off my shoulders when I feel like I don't have to control the entire podcast. I mean, I literally just got done another hour of controlling another podcast, and I just hate doing it. Like I like when it's more of a back and forth where we're on the same page and it's like not me running the show. But
the problem with me is like between work, between being in a softball league, and between helping out my dad on my days off. Like when I do have free time, I don't feel like jumping on a pod most times.
Yeah.
Anymore. But like I do love it. I love it.
Yeah, like we just rambled for 55 minutes.
And we're rambling for like 30 minutes prior. People never.
Yeah, we were talking for a while before this. And I mean, that's usually when we get our ideas of what we're gonna do. We don't plan these out usually the best. And that's true. That's true for this. This is true for my other one I do, except if we have a guest, then we don't want to look like idiots in front of them. But yeah. So that's a good point to end it. Send the questions. Keep following the Twitter at Stupid Money Pod. YouTube, Whitaker Media. It's on there. Of course, we're on all the Apple platforms under Stupid Money Podcast. Did I say all the all the podcast platforms? Sorry, I'm just thinking on Apple. But yeah, so I'm Alec. He's Sean. Bye, Sean.
See you.